Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And in this video, I have a network update for you guys from AT&T. And then I wanted to talk a little bit more about their network plans and some clarification, as a lot of you are still confused, sending me emails. So I kind of wanted to speak on that after I talk about this network update. And that ties into what I'm going to talk about. So Nokia supports 5G for AT&T customers with 5-year C-band deals. So these deals are going to come from all carriers. It's not just going to be AT&T. Verizon is likely to strike a deal with Ericsson, Nokia, and maybe even Samsung. And same from T-Mobile. Why are these happening? Because there's new equipment that needs to be put on the market. The C-band equipment, of course, it's not brand new because it's already existing and being utilized in Europe. But the N77 that AT&T and Verizon are going to start utilizing is going to come with AirScale and Massive MIMO, the newest radios. It's going to come with the best equipment at this point in time. And of course, they have to strike deals so the OEMs can get manufacturing going and be able to supply the demand, because there's going to be big demand from all the carriers. Although, and this is what I'm going to talk about, AT&T's volumes are likely to be far less versus its competition. And, we can kind of exclude T-Mobile from that because they're not going to utilize the C-band until later down the line because they don't need it right now. They got the N41 deployments going on a nationwide scale. So 5-year deal, C-band equipment from Nokia. A lot of people not very happy with Nokia. They say it's an inferior product on both hardware and software. Some say the hardware is there, the software is not there. Either way, people see Nokia as an inferior product when it comes to network. Ericsson has that mind share that they have the best panels and software, although right now there are some issues with Ericsson as well, especially on DSS. That's a topic for another video. They both are working on that with software updates and tweaks from both the carriers and the OEMs, but be looking forward to that being less of an issue in the future. So what aren't people clear about AT&T's plan? So I wanted to kind of speak on that. So in volume, AT&T has the least aggressive rollout of the mid-band capacity layer out of the T-Mobiles and the Verizons of the world. Why is that? And why aren't they at least on par with Verizon's C-band plan? They got 20 megahertz less of the C-band, but they have the same opportunity here to hit 100 million by next year, March. AT&T has the same exact opportunity to make this happen. So why is AT&T potentially not as aggressive? Well, one, you can make the argument they have the most capacity on LTE right now. So as they've moved over to DSS 5G and some of the markets that have the 5G branding, the network speeds are cooking, so to speak. I've seen some speeds hit 400, 500, 600 megabits per second. In some areas, it's even more using LAA. So as they're densifying the network and they're adding the C-RAN and more macros, which is now a priority, they're going to speed up quite drastically, to be honest, because they've had on licensed spectrum in the LTE era before all the unlicensed spectrum came in and the millimeter wave and the C-band and the other mid-band. AT&T, other than Sprint, has had some of the more spectrum assets in the industry. So they're now really utilizing that. They said, as of the analyst day, which took place a week or so, they said they've only deployed 70% of their assets, spectrum assets. So there's more spectrum that they're going to work through. So I'm sure there's still some sites out there that only have 2 spectrum bands. And then there are some sites that don't have all their low band holdings. So there are several aspects from AT&T's network where they're still going to see improvements before even moving to 5G. And while that may be great for AT&T and its network and its customers, it may be bad from a marketing and a brand perception. Because recently, not too long ago, Light Reading reported that brand perception is starting to favor T-Mobile. And that may not be a good sign for AT&T, because we know T-Mobile is firing on all cylinders right now. N41 deployments, very rapid. They're going up everywhere. It's a fast deployment. And as they deploy it, as they optimize, as they modernize these sites, speeds are improving drastically. Now, does that favor T-Mobile? Sure it does, because they're going to put it into marketing. They're not going to market this. I'm telling you, they're going to market the Magenta Max. They're going to start marketing the home internet, and they're going to have a comfortable lead. And moving into that second place by perception is something that T-Mobile is shooting for. And then, of course, they're shooting to fight and compete against Verizon, which Verizon, of course, they have their own targets that they're going to hit, and they're very aggressive, far more aggressive than AT&T. But again, although AT&T's network may be great now, maybe even better still, more capacitive, larger network, better site builds, more backup generators, it still sounds that the brand perception is going to really start favoring T-Mobile. And I don't know if that's such a good thing for AT&T to fall to that third place by perception. And then as T-Mobile gains more and more spectrum and added onto the sites, their network is going to get better. It's going to happen. They're investing a good amount for their brand right now. Does lowering of the capex signal a red flag? Yes, I think so. But if that 9 to 10 billion works for their brand, it keeps them growing, makes them money, then I can say a million bad things about that lowering of the capex. It won't matter. T-Mobile will still go laughing to the bank because they've just made billions and billions of dollars. So they're predicting 60 plus billion revenue, 18 plus billion free cash flow. If they can obtain that by doing 9 to 10 billion of capex, then so be it. There's nothing I can do. You know, if I do want them to spend more to maybe have that bit of competitive edge. But if the other carriers are going to allow T-Mobile to come in and dominate on brand perception and marketing, then that's on them. There's nothing I can do. If T-Mobile can get there to that goal by spending less, then they've done what they needed to do. So again, end of year, I'm hearing Verizon is going to start deploying C-band end of this month already. There's site walks happening. So they're already focused. So end of month, April, May, all that is going to be action-packed for Verizon until March of next year. And of course, it's going to continue. But they are set to hit 100 million by March of next year. I think they exceed that easily. I think they get to 120, 130. Whereas I'm hearing with AT&T, they're not actually physically starting to deploy C-band until Q3. Q3 and Q4, they start ramping. They're estimated to be at 25 million pops covered by the end of 21. And somewhere around 75 million at the end of next year, from what the estimates are saying. That's a very low volume, very, very low. By that time, T-Mobile will be well on its way to 250 million covered. Verizon will be on the way of covering about 175 million, and AT&T will likely be roughly around 75. And then once we get to 23, that's when AT&T is set to crack that between 100 to 150 million, depending on how aggressively they start rolling out. I do think as the brand perception may change and the marketing and it affects AT&T in the negative way, I think they start ramping C-band much higher. They're set to spend 6 to 8 billion through 22 to 24. I think that could easily go up with a snap of a finger. I think that could go up quickly just to catch the competition, because they're playing catch up. They don't need to be, but they are. They could easily spend at least at same levels of Verizon to build out the brand and the spectrum portfolio to say, hey, we're going to be right there, not to be at 25 million by the end of the year. So Let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. I kind of try to clarify that. It's kind of just simple and straightforward. AT&T is going to come in at lower volumes on C-band. It's not going to be at scale versus the competition. And then another thing that they have to deal with as well, and this goes for Verizon too, just to throw this in there. Verizon has 60 in the top 46. AT&T will have 40 megahertz in the top 46. So that's something that they won't be able to make larger bandwidth channels until December 2023. And then in December 2023 is when they can start scaling outside of the top 46. Do they start building outside of the 46 before that? Probably. But they can't physically turn it on until December 2023, and that's when they are able to widen the channels to 80, 100, 120 as well. Neville Ray made it very clear. More markets are going from 60 to 80, 80 to 100. And then in markets where it's contiguous, they are going 120, 140 where they can. And then in auction 108, if they compete aggressively enough to make the channels more contiguous, they will likely also be able to accomplish that this year and beyond, of course. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section down below. If you have been on the channel or you're new to the channel and you have not yet liked, shared, subscribed, make sure you do so. Hit the notification bell so you are notified when I do upload content. Make sure to follow the social media outlets for more updates and interactions. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.